Hey guys, so welcome to my Believathon vlog. I almost said TBR, but this is going to be a vlog. I have already made a start on my TBR though, and I started off with A Pinch of Magic. This book is for the First Prom, which is to read a book that is the first book in a series. I'm already 105 pages into this, and I'm really enjoying it. It's quite whimsical and magical. We're following these three sisters, and they've just learned that there is a family curse upon their family. Basically, this curse confines them to where they live, so they can't leave this island. I would say the middle sister, Betty, is the main character, and she's quite determined, and she is also quite adventurous, and because I feel like she wants to go on these adventures, she can't. So the plot is kind of unfolding now, and it's about these sisters trying to discover more about their family secret and their family curse and how to undo the family curse. There's also these magical items that are passed down to each woman in the family, so each of these sisters now have this magical item. I'm really liking it because there's a lot of mystery in the story already, and I just don't know where it's going to go. It's really intriguing. I completely forgot to say that if you don't know what Believathon is, I will leave a link to the announcement video. It is a readathon that's going to be running for 2 weeks in May, and the focus of it is to read middle grade books. This is a middle grade book. I have a lot of other middle grade books that I'm hoping to get to. I'll leave I completed A Pinch of Magic, and I really love this. I think I'm gonna give it a 4.75 stars. I don't know why it's just like not quite a 5. That just might be me being picky, because I tend to be. One thing I really liked that the story did was there was this sort of fairy tale, and that's how the story starts off. The first chapter is about that fairy tale, and then that fairy tale is continuously weaved throughout the story, and the mystery around that fairy tale comes to light, and it also does intertwine with the main plot of this book. So I really enjoyed that element. I love the sisters. I loved how whimsical this was. I loved how adventurous it was. I also wasn't expecting this to be as mysterious as it was. There's a real mystery around the sisters and their family curse and family secrets, and I really liked that, and I just didn't really know where that was going to go. So that was a nice surprise, because middle grade can be predictable. I actually did continue on and read the second book, or listen to the second book on Scribd, because the audiobook was available, and I've already finished that. I did like this one slightly less. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm still giving it a 4.25 stars, so still a fantastic read and a fantastic follow-up to the first book. I think because there wasn't as much mystery as the first book had included into the story, I wasn't as intrigued. There was still mystery in A Sprinkle of Sorcery, but not as much. The family secret and the family curse and all that, that's actually resolved in this book, and I really liked that element, so that didn't carry on. But what I liked about the second book was it had a new kind of fairy tale, and again, that was weaved throughout the entire story and came into play into the main plot. This was for Poacher's Inn, and A Sprinkle of Sorcery was for Baba Yaga's House, which was to read a book that featured a family relationship. And I have started my next read, and my next destination is 100 Acre Wood, and for this I have to read a book that has yellow on the cover. So I've started listening to the audiobook of Fablehaven. I'm only a couple of chapters in. Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly show you I participated in Cerys' Ultimate Disney Live quiz this morning. I dressed up. I don't know if you can tell who I am.
Hey, are you a hobo?
No, I'm not a hobo, but I am busy. Okay, so you go home.
What's that? Didn't hear you. Your breath is so bad it made my ears numb.
Listen, I try to be nice. You're mimicking
You're
me.
mimicking me.
Okay. That is rude, and this conversation is over.
I am Penelope from Wreck-It Ralph. I have these like little butterfly clips, so I put them everywhere, and in the screenshot that perfectly matches hers, and it just came together so perfectly last minute, so I'm really proud of it. But I wanted to quickly include it in the vlog because I'm about to take it all off. If you want to do a quiz at home with your family, or anytime really, I'll leave the link for the live show down below, because Cerys did so much work for it, but she also made it so that anyone can access the questions and answers, so you can do it with your friends or family. So yeah, it was so much fun. My team came second. Go Team Grumpy. But update. I'm about halfway through Fablehaven. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish that today. We are following two siblings. They have to go stay at their grandparents' house, and they're not really close with their grandparents and they've never been to their house, but their parents are going away, so they have to go stay there. Their grandfather says they're not allowed to go into the forest, and they're restricted on where they're allowed in on their property. But of course, like, the boy ends up going in the forest and he comes across this old hut, and inside's this old woman. It's kind of like mysterious, you don't really know what's going on at first. And the other thing is the grandfather also gives the girl, I think her name's Kendra, I'm reading this book, I should know, she gets all these keys, and all these keys unlock different things. So I really like middle grades when they're about discovery. There's something about that I feel like just captures my favorite childhood stories. Basically, the property that they're on is backed onto this what looks like a national park or like forest, and it's really beautiful. And it turns out that's a place called Fablehaven, and there are all these mythical creatures and beings there that it's kind of like a reserve, and their grandfather is the caretaker, and so now it's kind of like about the adventures that these kids get up to. So I'm really enjoying it. I've wanted to read this series, or wanted to read Brandon Mull, the author, for a really long time, because I have heard really good things about him as a middle grade author. And yeah, it's definitely like a darker vibe. Not really dark, but I don't know, I feel like A Pinch of Magic and Sorcery of Thorns was a lot more lighter and fluffy and slightly younger, and this is slightly older. I mean, I'm no middle grade expert, but that's just how I'm feeling. And the audiobook's pretty good. I'm not actually red in the face right now, it's just the blush, because that's how Penelope looks, so I just went a little bit mental with it all. Come here, we'll take a thumbnail. You gotta look at the camera, actually over here. I finished Fablehaven and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm giving it a 3.25 stars. Something I noticed about this book that A Pinch of Magic and Sorcery of Thorns didn't do, which I liked that it didn't do, and I did not like that this book did this, was a lot of the information, or I guess you could also say the discovery of the creatures and the world, the kids didn't discover. A lot of the information was just told directly to the children from the adult, which I don't like. I figured out while reading this in middle grade. I really like in middle grade when kids aren't told things by adults. I really enjoy it when the kids kind of go off and discover things for themselves. For me, that's a part of the adventure and part of the fun and charm of middle grade stories. And because this book, a lot of the information and how the world works and the rules and regulations, I would say 90% of the time in this book was directly told to the children. I didn't like that. I would have preferred the children to kind of have to learn along the way on their own. I still really enjoyed this book though. I really enjoyed how creepy it was. Like, I found even their grandfather to be creepy, and the grandfather had a couple of caretakers on the property and they were creepy and sketchy. The creatures as well, but this was more about these humans and these creatures and how they coexist with one another. I have no idea how it's going to continue on for a series, but I feel like a lot of middle grade, each individual book tends to have its own kind of plot. And actually the other thing with this was it actually wasn't very plot heavy. It was a more of a character focused story. I think Kendra, the girl character, was my favorite out of them all. There was this one thing that happened though that did creep me out. I can't say because it's a spoiler, but if you read the book, it's something to do with chicken eggs. The story had a darker tone, which made it feel more like a young YA, but I would say the plot and the things that happened, that was still like very much middle grade. I did decide on my next read. I decided that my next destination on the map was, it's Orion something, but the prompt for that is you have to read a book that is a sci-fi or has something to do with space, and Gavin was pretty lenient with this. He said that you can just read a book that has something to do with space or whatever in the title, so I decided to pick up The Girl Who Drank the Moon. It's got moon in the title, obviously. I've wanted to pick up this middle grade forever, and I found it on Scribd, so I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm only about 20% of the way through, but I'm obsessed. I want to just like spend the rest of my afternoon cooking because I just want to listen to this audiobook as I cook. I finished The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and oh my goodness, this story was just... I want to see a Studio Ghibli movie of this. It was fantastic. I didn't really explain in my previous clip what this is about. We are following this like village, and they sacrifice a baby. So the youngest baby of that year is always left into the woods as a sacrifice, and the villagers do this because that baby is a sacrifice for the witch. They do this to keep the witch happy and to keep the rest of the villagers safe. However, the witch isn't evil like the villagers think. Instead, the baby that is left at the beginning of this book, witch takes her in, and she accidentally feeds the baby moonlight, which gives the baby magical abilities. It kind of hinted at that the baby already had a little bit of magical abilities, and that's why the moonlight was so drawn to the child. And with the moonlight in the child, this is a very, very magical child, and that child is called Luna. And this story kind of follows Luna growing up with all this magic. The witch does put a spell on Luna though, so that she can't use the magic. The magic is sort of in her but not accessible, so Luna does grow up unaware of her magical abilities. But when she turns 13, which is when she's like coming of age, that magic is going to burst out of her and she will have a lot of magic. And then at the same time, we are also following these villagers, and one particular villager we are following is this boy who starts off as a young boy at the beginning of the novel. He was worked as part of the council. He was someone who actually took Luna as a baby from her family. Like, I mean, he didn't do it on his own, he did it with the council members. He was the one who actually held her though, and was the one who left her in the woods. And we follow him growing up as well. The witch also has these like two sidekicks. There's a little dragon that she has, and there's also this swamp monster that is also a companion, and they were just such a delight. Then there's also this aspect of when Luna was taken from her family, her mother didn't want to give her up, and because the mother was forced to give her up because Luna was the youngest baby of her year, that mother descends into madness and then she's locked into a tower. If you're a fan of Studio Ghibli movies, you have to read this book. Like, this book is written for you. I wish I had a physical copy because there was so many beautiful lines, so many quotable lines that I just wanted to highlight. So I'm definitely gonna get my hands on a physical copy eventually and reread it and annotate it because it was amazing. I loved it so much. I highly recommend it if you want a middle grade. That means I've completed the prompt Orion found, and it also means I've made it to the bookkeeper's stronghold. The prompt for this is to read the next book in a series, and I decided to pick up Never Seen. This is the 4th book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. I started reading the series I think back in March, and I've just kind of been reading them every now and then. I want to try and finish up the entire series this year. This series is about elves. We start off, we meet this girl called Sophie. She's grown up living an ordinary human life, and she finds out that she's actually an elf, and so she's taken to the world of the elves and she lives there. I'm actually loving this book so far so much. I didn't really realize how much I missed this world, all these characters, until I started listening to this audiobook. I'm not too far in, but yeah, I'm interested to see how the rest of the story goes. Like, I thought the first one was fun and it was okay. The second book in the series I did not like at all. I just thought the overall plot was very irrelevant. A lot of the stuff that happened didn't really contribute to the overarching story that, you know, the overarching plot that's going to play out throughout the entire series. And then the third book I really enjoyed. I thought that was a huge step up in the storytelling. I'm really hoping that the gang stays together, because with the previous books there's kind of been one, so there's Sophie and then there's been one of her friends who's been the focus. I really just want the whole gang to stay together this one, because I really do like all their dynamics together. It's a lot of fun. I finished Never Seen and I loved this so much. I think it's my favorite book in the series so far. I was freaking out about so much stuff that was happening. There were a couple betrayals that I did not see coming at all. Oh, I just love this world and this series and these characters, and I wish I had the time to read on to the next book, but I have to wait. I gave it a 4.5 stars in the end. It was fantastic, and that means I have completed my Believathon TBR quest. It's all done. So that's it. So this is the end of this vlog. Thank you so much to Gavin for creating and hosting such an amazing readathon. I love middle grade, but I do have a very terrible habit of putting it off. So it was fantastic this month to make the time to read middle grade, and I'm so happy I did, because I found quite a few new favorites and quite a few series that are really itching to continue on with. And if you guys participated in the Believathon, please let me know down below how you went and what books you read, and if you found a new favorite like I did. Otherwise, that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that you're enjoying whatever you're currently reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye!